Console, online. HPG connection, online. Educational module, online. All systems, nominal.
Hello, class, and welcome to On the Origin of Battlemechs Podcast, episode 75. Today we are talking about the Crusader. I am your host, Brent Stewart. My co-hosts today are...
I'm Joshua.
And I'm Chandler.
And today we are talking about the Crusader, a 65-ton missile boat. And it is a absolutely fantastic machine, and it is sadly marred by the fact that it was unseen for many years.
Darn Harmony Gold kept this boy out of production.
Mm-hmm. Which is too bad because it is absolutely fantastic.
It made it a great mech for scouting because no one ever saw it coming.
Ew.
Because it's unseen. Get it? You get it, Craig? I bet you get it, Craig. Craig appreciates it.
So the Crusader is an SLDF workhorse whose design continues not only to live on during the Succession Wars because of its durability, but was and is produced by several great houses, consistently ensuring that the Crusader was always available to anyone looking to fill out a support lance. The weapon system is designed around long and short-range missiles, with energy weapons for direct fire. The Crusader is produced by the Free Worlds League, the Compelling Confederation, and the Republic of the Sphere before they fell, each nation providing a special twist on the machine. Having a reputation for a support mech, you might question this machine's prowess, but battle reports have shown that a skilled pilot in a Crusader can be a devastating force on the battlefield.
Especially when all that ammo goes up at once.
Just hope he's not hugging you.
When they work together, they can be a force multiplier. The Crusader is a member of the Unseen, as I mentioned. It has the design quirks of easy to maintain, rugged one, stabilized weapons legs, and ubiquitous.
It's got a spike on its face.
Is it a spike or is it a unicorn horn?
See, this is something I'm going to have to debate for the rest of this episode. Thank you, Brent.
Well, given its status as unseen, and unicorns are notoriously hard to find, I'm pretty sure it's a unicorn horn.
You know, I can get behind this logic, especially on the new art. It's definitely a unicorn horn.
So the first model we have today is the CRD-1R, seen in 2596, and that is all I could actually find about it. I could not find a record sheet or any point value for Alpha Strike, and I couldn't find any lore on that. What about you guys?
So, looking at Sarna, there's an excerpt from N.C. Kestrel, a freelance writer and maintainer of the master unit list, dated 3rd of February 2017. And he says the Crusader was mentioned as existing at a certain date that predate streak missiles, and the Crusader 3R is mentioned as being a downgrade of what became the Crusader 2R. So they made a Crusader 1R that was the original Crusader without streaks in order to make that timeline kind of match up.
So just kind of fill it in. So we don't have any actual records for this, but it's something that technically, according to the lore and everything, has to exist. So it's been filled in. Interesting.
All right, so the suggested loadout for the Crusader 1R, because it's a precursor to the 2R, is LRM-15s with Artemis, just like the 2R. But because the LRM-15s have to have Artemis, your SRMs have to have Artemis as well. And in order to make that work, you take 2 LRM-15s with Artemis 4 and 2 SRMs with Artemis 4. And that brings you to the same tonnage as the 2 Streak SRM2s in each leg for 4 Streak SRM2s. So two medium lasers, 2 SR4s in the legs, 1 in each leg, with Artemis 4, and 2 LRM-15s in 1 in each arm with Artemis 4 and case.
Nifty. So then the next model is the CRD-2R, seen in 2649, and this guy has a movement profile of 4.6. It's got a LRM-15 with Artemis 4 in the right arm, as well as a machine gun. and then it has the same in the left arm, and then in both the right leg it has 2 streak SRM2s, and the same in the left leg. It has 10 double heat sinks. It's got endo steel. It's got 1 ton of ammo for the machine gun and 1 ton of ammo for the LRMs in the left torso, and then in the right torso 1 ton of ammo for the SRMs and the LRMs. Both the right and left torso are protected by case.
Wait, what's protected by case?
The right and left torso.
Okay, for some reason I thought I heard right and left arm, and I was like, what?
No,
Case in the arms?
that's not for a couple hundred years.
It's a fun little mech. And by little, I mean 65 tons of it. You do only have 8 shots with your LRM-15s, but they are Artemis. And also, once you run out of those missiles, you can just start punching things.
Mm-hmm. Not a whole lot of sustained fire for like campaigns or anything like that, but a very powerful machine if integrated into the main distribution and logistics line.
Yep.
Yeah, the streaks are in a weird spot. I don't really like that.
Mm-hmm. Because they're in the legs, of course, they are locked into the forward-facing firing position. They don't twist with the torso.
I like how this has a lot of high explosive and machine guns. Makes it a great anti-infantry mech.
Mm-hmm.
Great support mech for infantry as well. It does have a lot of it's got to have that case though because of how much ammo it carries.
Yeah.
Especially the way machine gun ammo works because it carries a full ton of that.
Which is a lot. It's 200 shots.
And how much damage per? So isn't it the damage of the weapon times the number of shots?
Mm-hmm.
So one ton of machine gun ammo will do 400 points of internal damage to a mech.
Quite a bit.
Yeah. The one good thing is that if you do use the rules where you could spin up the amount of shots a machine gun fires, you could chew through that pretty quickly.
Yeah, which would be good and would also make sense with the way machine guns work in real life.
Mm-hmm. Well, as a very first model that we get a record sheet for, this is a pretty strong start. I mean, the heat is able to be managed quite nicely as long as you are able to not get overwhelmed or you're splitting your fire between long and a short range target and therefore alpha striking.
Your medium lasers and your LRM-15s bring you to 16 heat, which you probably shouldn't shoot both at the same time.
And let's say a run, so that's 18. So you're then, theoretically, if you are alpha striking with absolutely everything and you hit with all 4 of your streak 2s, you're going to go 6 heat over. So, I mean, this is a pretty heat neutral mech.
Yeah. Well, and I question whether you're actually going to get there anyway, because you really don't want to be shooting those medium lasers in most range brackets that you're going to be firing your LRMs in, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the 2R has a battle value of 1533 and a point value of 38. We then come to the 3R seen in 2752. And this guy has a movement profile of 4.6. It's got the LRM-15 and machine gun and medium laser in the right arm. Same in the left arm. And then it has an SRM-6 in the right leg and an SRM-6 in the left leg. It's got 10 single heat sinks, and it does not have endo steel.
And this is going to be the one most old school players are familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Succession Wars version.
The downgrade. And of course it does a thing that I really don't like, which is putting ammo in the center torso.
Yes,
It really depends on how you look at it.
golden BBs shouldn't exist.
No, absolutely. I just think as a design principle, don't put the ammo right beside the reactor.
Yes, but it's also the most heavily armored and protected place in the mech.
Fair.
My LB20X disagrees with your assessment. There is always golden BB.
Like, real world tanks put the ammo in the turret.
So upping those SRMs to 6s, which is kind of neat. Sadly, you're losing some tech because no doubles, no Artemis 4, no streaks.
No endo.
Mm-hmm. But still a very strong machine.
No double heat sinks. I think that's the thing that misses the most.
Yeah, because now you actually got to worry about heat.
Before heat was a concept. Now it's a danger.
Yeah. This guy's got a battle value of 1317 and a point value of 32. We then come to the 3L, seen a year later in 2753. It's got a movement profile of 464, so got some jump jets for the first time on this machine.
Yay, more heat.
It's got an LRM-10, a machine gun, and a medium laser in the right arm, and then the same in the left arm. It's got an SRM-4 in both the right and the left leg. It's got 12 single heat sinks, so you do gain 2 heat sinks to help. It's got 1 ton of SRM, 1 ton of machine gun, and 1 ton of LRM.
So you gain 2 heat sinks, but you also now have the ability to increase your movement heat to 4, whereas you used to just have 2 as your max movement heat. You gain a little heat efficiency off your downgrading missiles, but you're still basically in the same spot.
Yeah, if you run and fire all your not LRM weapons and you don't jump, you're not in bad shape. You're a little hot, but nothing crazy. But as soon as you start jumping and trying to alpha strike with everything, it's not a good day. It's a bad day. Bad.
Yeah, 16 heat if you don't fire your LRMs and you run.
So, of course, L for Liao, first of the House Liao models for this machine.
And again, so much ammo. Got 2 tons of LRM-10 ammo, 1 ton of SRM ammo, and 1 ton of machine gun ammo.
Yeah, it's a mech. It's a Liao mech. It jumps, but it also has less whoosh. So, take it as you will.
Yeah. So this guy's got a battle value of 1297 and a point value of 34. We then come to the 3D. Of course, this is the Crusader that you print on your 3D printer at home. Just kidding, for legal reasons, of course. No.
Mine's not working right now.
I know a guy who knows a guy.
No. But 3D, 3 for Davian. D for Davian, I should say. This, of course, has the LRM-15's back, and so it has a little more whoosh, a little more 3-dimensional range on the battlefield, we'll say.
Indirect fire. Fight in the Z-axis.
We have an LRM-15, a medium laser in the right arm, and then same in the left arm. It's got an SRM-4 in the left leg and an SRM-4 in the right leg. It has a ton of SRM ammo in the center torso, a ton of LRM ammo in both the right and left torso, and it's got 14 single heat sinks.
So this guy's still toasty.
But definitely more manageable.
Yes. Dropping the 2 machine guns and that ammo frees up the tonnage for 2 heat sinks. Dropping the SRM-6s down to 4s saves you some more tonnage. Yeah, now you can fire your short range weapons, and that generates 12 heat. And then you run, and that's 14 heat, and you sink all of it. So any excess heat is going to be from shooting your short range weapons and your long range weapons at the same time. So this one can really actually bracket fight, because it won't overheat shooting its LRM-15s, and it won't overheat shooting its short range weapons. So just manage your distance.
Yeah. Make sure you are deployed correctly with your lance supporting you as need be.
It's also not quite as big a funeral pyre if you get hit in the center torso.
Is that machine gun ammo?
Yep, you only take 100 points of damage now instead of 500.
The 3D has a battle value of 1338 and a point value of 34. We then come to the 3K, seen in 2765. It's got a movement profile of 4.6. It's got an LRM-10 in the right arm as well as a medium laser. Same in the left arm. And it's got an SRM-6 in both the right and left leg. It's got 16 single heat sinks.
So this is kind of the same idea, but reverse range bracket as the Davian version. You lower your long range firepower and you get rid of the machine guns to make room for more heat sinks so you can fire your short range weapons all day.
Yeah, I definitely like how both the 3D and the 3K feel. They both very, very much feel like their respective house. Like Kurita's very much, I want to get in close and, duel you to the death. For Davian's like, yeah, I'm going to sacrifice some short range firepower for more cooperation within my lance. so I can continuously fire that long range firepower and then also duke it out in short range if I have to.
Ironically, to me, the Crusader model feels like it has a little bit more stability because downgrading the LRMs to 10s, but still keeping the 2 tons of ammo gives you more rounds, so you've now got 12 rounds if you are using both when you fire. So you can hang out a little bit longer on the battlefield and, because as we've established before, the SRMs is like warhead per ton is kind of ridiculous when you compare it to the other ammo types in this game, aside from machine gun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It gets really crazy when you get into the streaks. In their range bracket, the streaks are hands down the most efficient for heat and damage weapons in the game.
Yeah.
Good old streaks.
Of course, they're short range, so.
With everything comes a cost.
Yeah. So the 3K has a battle value of 1290 and a point value of 34. We then come to our first named model, the CRD-3R Creel, seen in 3049. And this guy's got a movement profile of 4-6. It's got a SRM-6 in the right torso, an SRM-6 in the left torso. It's got a claw, a machine gun, and a medium laser in the right arm, and then it has the same in the left arm. It also has a SRM-6 in the right leg and the left leg. It's got 10 single heat sinks, and it has 1 ton of ammo for the machine guns and SRMs, each in the center torso.
So the claws are interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're funny.
This is from the new recognition guides.
This guy, no, he is from older TRO.
Oh, Sarna says recognition guide 17.
They might have republished it or redone his.
I've got Project Phoenix 3085 unabridged.
Yeah, that must be where I grabbed it from. But he is actually a not Solaris pit fighter, which I have a little pilot profile for him later in the episode. So obviously those claws are for when you get in real close and are fighting. This Crusader goes from long range LRM to long range SRM, and short range is actual fisticuffs.
Yeah, it makes sense as a arena fighter, a pit fighter. You're gonna be able to be in close more frequently. This would actually be pretty mean. I mean, you can't have claws in Mechwarrior Online, but if we had the Crusader and MWO, this SRM-6 build would be pretty mean in the Solaris arena.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of SRM-6s to get hit by.
A lot of heat to generate too.
Yeah, with only 10 heat sinks.
Yeah.
But if it was in Mechwarrior Online, you wouldn't have claws, so that tonnage would probably go straight into heat sinks.
Yeah. Well, and on the tabletop, you can always get in close, hit them with a barrage of SRM-6, and then try to rip them apart with the claws there.
Well, this model has a battle value of 1204 and a point value of 29. And if anybody is curious and doesn't have a chance to look it up right now, claws do a damage of 10.
Are they always rounded up? Because I believe claws actually do 1 point of damage per 7 tons.
Yes.
So that works out to be 9.2. So if they round up, then it's 10. If they round normally, it's 9 damage a claw.
They also inflict a +1 to hit, so you're not always going to be punching amazingly.
Yeah, they inflict that on you.
Yeah.
Which technically makes them I think it's kind of a wash between a regular punch with no penalty and a claw with a +1 but better damage.
Yeah.
Because punching, I believe, is 1 point of damage for every 10 tons of mass. So
1 for every 10, yeah.
Punching with a standard Crusader is 6.5. I believe that would round to 7 points of damage. Whereas the claws for a Crusader are 9 to 10, depending on how you round. So, of course, everybody knows that kicking is the real answer to melee.
It's true, but at the same time, if you miss, you don't proc a PSR. And you can still fire your leg SRMs and punch.
Oh, and punches have a chance to hit the head and kicks do not. So yeah, there are reasons to punch over kicking, but your chances of hitting are much better with a kick, especially if you're punching with claws.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in like an Atlas and there's a Locust standing next to you.
Yeah, so, sorry, it took me a second to find the table from the Battlemech manual, we have damage value of 1 per 7 tons, but it has the double asterisk of assigning all damage as a single damage grouping. 1 per X ton means that the weapon does 1 ton of damage for every X tons of damage if it weighs. Round fractional damage up. Sword and deactivated vibroblades then add 1 to this total because that is a asterisk that's on a couple things. Yeah, so
you always round up. So yeah, it'd be 10 points of damage.
Just wanted to make sure we were putting the right info out there.
That is one of the annoying things about BattleTech is rounding doesn't always go normally. So when you're starting out and you're trying to do stuff in Excel spreadsheets, it's very difficult to get it to work properly.
Or you have to manually do every single equation.
Yay, equations.
So this guy has a battle value of 1204 and a point value of 29. We then come to the 4D for Davian.
4-dimensional chess.
Hans Davian over there doing his 4D chess as per usual. That tricky fox.
So Chandler, would you say that Hans Davian's wife was a foxy lady?
Oy.
Do we actually ever meet his wife? Now that I think about it, I don't think we actually ever hear anything from her. To
From
I go. I must
Melissa
know.
Steiner?
Oh my God!
Chandler.
Wow.
For some reason, I just assumed he had a wife before Melissa. I don't know why.
Go take yourself
Because of the
back and
age difference.
Court-martial yourself. Sorry, Brent. Back to the 4D.
Yes.
Apparently, I am not playing 4D chess.
So we have the CRD-4D, and it came out in 3049. It's got a movement profile of 4.6. It has an LRM 15 and a medium pulse laser in the right arm, same in the left arm, and it has 1 streak SRM 2 in both the right and the left leg. It has 1 ton of ammo for the streak SRM2s in the center torso, and it has 1 ton of ammo for the LRMs in both the left and right torso. It's got 13 single heat sinks, and yeah, pretty solid. I think the medium pulse lasers are pretty neat. I mean, unfortunately, they are inner sphere, so the range is not great on those, but for trying to get rid of something up close, I think that's quite strong.
I still maintain that X pulse lasers are what inner sphere pulse lasers should have been from day one.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, me too.
I did read an interesting argument put forth by a listener of the Mech Bay podcast that medium pulse lasers are a good upgrade because they don't spike your BV as high as taking a second medium laser or taking 2 ER medium lasers for the same tonnage. So you can take medium pulse lasers. They're not as effective out to range as standard
Medium
lasers or ER medium lasers. They also don't require as much BV, or they don't take up as much BV in your list as having 2 mediums or 2 ER mediums would take up. So it's an interesting argument to argue effectiveness from battle value. I get it, because when you're building a list, you want your list to be as effective as it can be for the battle value. But at the same time, you also want the individual weapons to be effective. And I don't know, you have to be within 2 hexes for a medium laser to really be better than a medium medium pulse laser to be better than a medium laser.
Yeah, like I can see the argument. I just think there's a sunk cost fallacy about trying to min-max that much, you know?
Yeah, it's bad. Stop trying to find ways where it might be good.
Yeah. I mean, also, if you're doing a actual theme or campaign that is going for quote unquote realism in a fictional universe, you're going to start to find that, oh, hey, those video games lied to you about how much text floating around.
Yeah, and in a real world setting, the medium pulse has to be good because they keep putting it on everything. So, which to me is an argument for inner sphere lasers need to be reworked to be more effective, and don't just give us a separate type of medium pulse laser in the X pulse. Give us an actual efficient and effective
proper standard. Yeah, no, I get you.
And then have the X pulse be some crazy inner sphere advance that goes, hey, we're already a hot burning pulse laser. What if we take the clan's heavy laser technology and slap it with our pulses and make something that's crazy hot and pulsy and massive damage? You know, do something new with the X pulse instead of just
re-engineered laser. That's literally the fluff behind the re-engineered laser. Thank you very much. Don't you take that away from me.
Yeah, but then we could have the re-engineered laser be shooting things like rainbows or unicorns or something. And
It already does. That's how it gets through the special armor, because they don't expect that. Also, back to me forgetting that I forgot Hans Davian was married to, Melissa Steiner. Apparently he was 45 when they got married and she was 18. So that's just weird. That's my random fact for the day.
We're going to go with it was written in the 80s and carry on.
And it's modeled after the Middle Ages, so
Yeah.
perfectly normal for back then.
Yes, this is true.
I know, it's still weird.
Judging it by today's standards, absolutely. But the 4D has a battle value of 1309 and a point value of 33. We then come to the CRD-4L, seen in 3049, and it has a battle value of 1309 and a point value of 33, and it is exactly the same as the 4D.
Probably because the Capellan factories were captured by or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe they took back some territory. But either way, somebody was capturing somebody else, and the Davian design got produced with the Liao factories. Guarantee that's what happened.
So according to Sarna, the 4D is a field mod kit, and it was used by both Davian and Liao forces starting in 3049, as we mentioned. Essentially, the difference is the brands. Davian uses the Federated Super Streak launchers, Super Streak, and Sutel Precision Line lasers, while Liao uses the Hovertech Streaks and the Magna 400Ps. So it's really just brand differences.
How crunchy do you want to get?
I like granola.
In a video game, that would matter because they have, stars. Like, if we're going to go with Mechwarrior 5, that would be the difference between having 3 pips and 2 pips. Minor differences.
Obviously, the Hovertechs from the Capellan Confederation are the 2-pip one, and the Davian ones are the 3-pip one.
Just because it's called a Super Streak, yes. But they're lasers. So the Davians have the better streaks, but the Liaos have the cooler lasers because they're magnas. And it has a number in it, which means it's automatically better.
Because it's iterated already.
Yes.
They're still on the first version.
It makes it even better.
So same as the 4D and the 4L, same as each other for the record sheet purposes. We then have the 4K seen in 3049, and this guy has a movement profile of 4.6. It's got a LRM-10 and medium pulse laser in the right arm, a LRM-10 and medium pulse laser in the left arm. It's got an SRM-6 in the left leg and an SRM-6 in the right leg. It's got 14 single heat sinks, and it has 1 ton of LRM ammo in both the left and right torso, and 1 ton of SRM ammo in the center torso. So just a similar upgrade to the previous 3K, switching those medium lasers for pulse lasers.
Obviously, M for Merrick, but the Merrick factory...
So, no, 4K.
4K? Oh.
Did I say 4M?
Well, I thought we just did the 4L, which comes after the 4K.
I put it beside the 4D just because they're exactly the same.
Gotcha. I guess Sarna, or Master Unit List, sorts by date and then alphabetically, so the K came before the L on my list. And
Yeah, all of those ended up being released in 3049. It was a very busy year.
Gotta get that new tech before the clans show up.
Yeah, I like the 4K. It doesn't do much, but I think the medium pulse laser, with the tendency of the original 3K to want to kind of get closer with the 2 SRM-6s after it runs out of LRM ammo, I think the pulse lasers are a good fit.
I would tend to agree. I like the Streak 6s with the pulse lasers a little more than the LRM 15s.
You mean
Streak
the SRM 6s?
SRM 6s.
You did the same thing I did.
Flubbing that. Yeah. I think I did it before you as well, so, it's infectious, oh no.
Yeah, I guess I can see maybe a case for the medium pulse here, where you're skirmishing with or you're closing with your LRM-10s, then you open up with your SRM-6s, then you get in really close with your medium pulse, and finally you punch the dude in the face. This guy at least knows he wants to keep walking towards you.
So the 4K has a battle value of 1268 and a point value of 33. We then come to the 5M, seen again in 3049. Again, a very busy year. I think we'll see that again and again as we go through the machine listings, right?
Yep, the year before the clans invades.
All them real prime memory core tech just started flowing off the assembly line for completely non-narrative reasons in the universe.
Yeah, Jamie said, you guys are going to need this.
You can make an argument for the 4 like K, D, and L refit kits to be kind of around before their official release date, but with the 5M and then the 5S, these are full new production models. So they're kind of, you might have seen a prototype here or there, but you wouldn't have seen them in any big numbers.
Although the 5M was made on 3 factories in Merrick until the Federated Commonwealth captured the one on Oliver and started producing it for the Lyran Commonwealth. Well, I guess they retooled that factory because they captured it in the Fourth Succession War. So they just put those Merrick workers to use building the new Merrick design 25 years later. Sometimes I think these Tros don't think things all the way through, you know?
I'm pretty sure, especially the old stuff, they had like hard deadlines and a lot of stuff was just thrown at the wall, you know? And they were like, oh, it's probably like the comic, you know, plan. Throw everything at the wall and whatever people remember will make us canon and build off of.
Someone just forgot to turn the schematic auto updater off in the Oliver production plant, and then one day they started producing the 5M because it had hit the servers from the Merrick factories.
No, see, what happened is they bribed the local Comstar official to not disconnect them from the auto updates.
They paid for the Comstar tech support to continuously update it.
Yeah. So the 5M has a movement profile of 464, getting those jump jets again. It has an anti-missile system in the head, like to see that. It's got a flamer and a LRM-15 and a machine gun in the right arm, as well as a medium laser. And then in the left arm, it has a LRM-15 and a medium laser. In the right leg, it has a Streak SRM-2, same in the left leg. It's got 13 double heat sinks, and to help pay for all of that, it has an XL fusion engine. It's got case back, so that's nice to see again. One in the left torso protecting a ton of Streak SRM-2 ammo, and one in the right torso protecting 2 tons of LRM ammo and 1 ton of anti-missile system ammo.
I wonder if they could have fit anything else in that right arm.
They have 1 empty slot. There is a ton of ammo in the right arm for the machine gun as well.
It was a joke, Brent, because they've got an LRM-15, a machine gun, a flamer, a medium laser, and ammo in that arm.
Yeah, it's very full.
Come on, you couldn't put another Streak SRM-2 in there?
I don't even know why they put the machine guns on it. And you already added the flamer, might as well.
Not machine guns, 1 machine gun.
Oh, why even put 1 machine gun?
And they're both in the right arm. They're both, like, put one in the left arm.
That's what gets me. Like, you put the flamer in the right arm, put the machine gun in the left arm. Balance it out.
Mm-hmm.
Or just put another flamer in the left arm. Just, you know, war crimes for everyone.
But this is neat and interesting, kind of taking that close combat role for this machine in a different direction. I do like the anti-missile system in the head, especially considering, and we haven't really talked about the art before. The original art has kind of like, it looks like a unicorn horn. The newer art has this kind of almost
forehead fin.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
For those who have played Destiny, if you remember Cade 6, rest his mechanical soul. It's like his horn.
It's like his face, honestly. The head of the Crusader is Cade 6's head.
You're not wrong. So if you really like Cade 6, get a Crusader.
There you go.
Well done a few plates and you're good.
Bungie, please don't sue us.
So the original art has this kind of bucket head with a just giant barrel sticking out of it. I'm assuming that's the AMS. And 2 kind of fins on the back, which I'm assuming are either heat sinks or jetpacks.
The jump system.
Sensors also possibly.
Yeah, it's the jump system. I thought you meant on the back of the head.
On the shoulders. Yeah, but it looks good. It looks stocky. This, of course, is the art taken from... Oh, this one was Was it Crusader Joe or was it Macross? I can't remember which one.
I would hope it's Crusader Dro because it's the Crusader, but I don't know those franchises, so.
Yeah, me either. I'm useless in this. I'm sorry.
Anyway, but it is pretty neat when you look at the revamp because it is like just bulky. It's gone to the gym. It's gotten swole, but it still looks very much like the Crusader, you know?
Yeah.
Wait a second.
He's a big boy now.
Mm-hmm. Like he's got pecs for days.
This makes even less sense now.
What?
What makes less sense?
So it has the 4 weapons and the 1 ton of ammo in the right arm. It also has the hand in the right arm and no hand in the left arm, which just has 1 LRM-15 and 1 medium laser.
I believe they fixed that in the recognition guide. They fixed that. They both have hands again.
Do they?
Not worry. Yes. In the record sheet has 2 hands. Twice the hand, double the fall.
Okay, because the art in 3050, when we get the 5M, the art's missing the hand as well, which is what caused me to notice it.
Huh. I had not noticed that before.
I remember someone being happy about it. I think it was Drew. I think Drew was saying he was happy the hand was back when we were talking about this when the recognition guide came out. Shout out to Drew for being a person.
I bet the art was mirrored. So originally it was supposed to be the original art from whichever anime franchise had it has the hand on the opposite side, and then they just mirrored the art, but they forgot to mirror the weapon loadout for the 5M. I don't know.
Yeah.
So the 5M has a battle value of 1408 and a point value of 36. Definitely good to see those double heat sinks back, though. That's a good thing to see.
And it's got 13 of them, so really doesn't have to worry about heat that much anymore.
No. We then come to the 5S in 3049, so maybe this is the model that they made at the factory that they captured.
Unfortunately not.
This guy must have been made on Hesperus or Coventry or something then.
Tharkad.
So this guy's got a movement profile. Oh, Tharkad. There you go. Movement profile of 4-6. It's got a flamer, an LRM-15, and a medium laser in the right arm. In the left arm, it's got a LRM-15 and a medium laser, and then a SRM-6 in the right and left leg. It's got case to protect itself with 1 ton of SRM ammo and case in the center torso. It's got 2 tons of LRM in the right torso protected by case, and it has 10 double heat sinks. So I think this is a little more evenly synced because you're probably not going to be getting real hot.
I like that it's back to a fusion engine, a little more survivable.
Mm-hmm.
I am a little disappointed to see it still kind of goes with the full mixed loadout, I guess I would call it, because the 5M we just looked at, it felt like they doubled down on we're going support mech.
Mm-hmm.
They had dropped all the way down to SRM2s, a streak, but still just SRM2s, added in an AMS, and had really just gone full blown. Hey, we're going to hang out and support you with long range missiles. We're going to protect ourselves with case, protect ourselves with AMS. And if we need to come in and mop up some infantry with flamers and machine guns, we can do that too. This 5S, it's back to bracket fighting.
Yeah, no, that's reasonable. I mean, it does still have that flamer, but it's generally not going to be using that unless something gets really close, and it doesn't want that to happen.
I mean, Artemis is back. If it were me, I'd have dropped those SRM-6s down to 4s and given it Artemis. You'd probably also have to cut something else like the flamer to make that work.
Yeah.
But still, drop your short range firepower a little bit to focus on your long range.
So the 5S has a battle value of 1446 and a point value of 34. So next up we have the 6T that came out in 3053, and this guy is from the new recognition guide. It's got a movement profile of 585. It has a flamer in the left and right leg. It has 6 medium lasers in both the left arm and the right arm, and it has a C3 slave in the head. It's got 17 double heat sinks, and it has an XL engine to help pay for all that weight.
Yeah, I mean, fancy new tech.
The 6T was designed to emulate the Nova, and I think it does a very good job of it. I mean, it is a little bigger, but it's also scarier.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure it has more double heat sinks. It has that C3 computer. It'll just run right up to you, start punching you real good, and all of a sudden, LRMs from the sky from the C3.
The T comes from the project codename Project Templar.
So not Turian.
No, not Torian.
Ha!
And of course, it gets the new art, which is pretty sweet. You get to see all those nifty details on the gauntlets and the SRM pack on the hip. I think it's a good design, a good redesign.
It's yeah, I like this. It's completely different than any other Crusader. So I know there's going to be some people who don't like it because of that, but I think I like this more than most of the Crusaders we've seen because it's very focused. It knows exactly what it wants to do,
Mhm.
and that's get close and provide targeting data for its allies. And then if it stands still and it alpha strikes with those medium lasers, it only goes 2 over its heat threshold.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not hard for it to jump and shoot most of them. Basically, it's not hard for it to manage its heat load.
Yeah, and it's got some flamers for making sure infantry need to die because they do, because they're infantry.
Mm-hmm. So the battle value for this guy is going to be 1890, and the point value is going to be 49. Next up, we have the 4BR seen in 3054. This guy's got a movement profile of 4.6. It's got an LRM-15, a machine gun, and a medium laser in the right arm. Same in the left arm. It has a Streak SRM-2 in both the right and the left leg. It has a regular fusion engine. It's got a case to protect the left and right torso, each having 2 tons of LRM ammo. And then in the center torso, it's got a ton of Streak and machine gun. No case to protect that, though, because no slots available. But, yeah, definitely focusing more on long-range missile boat for this guy.
He basically goes back to the 2R.
Mm-hmm. Also 10 double heat sinks.
He's just missing
Yeah.
the 2Rs Artemis, really,
And the endo steel.
Mm-hmm.
which he pays for the lack of endo still by not having the Artemis and having half the Streak SRMs.
Yeah, I mean, for being a field refit kit, or well, a major field refit kit because of the double heat sinks. Good job, Bander Battlemechs. Way to go.
So this guy's got a battle value of 1407 and a point value of 37. We then arrive at the last model of the episode, the CRD-6D, seen in 3054. It has a movement profile of 584. It's got a SRM-6 in the left leg and the right leg. It's got a LRM-10 and a medium laser in the left arm. Same in the right arm. It's got endo steel. It's got an XL engine. It has case in both the right and left torso to protect a ton of LRM ammo, each respectively. It's got a ton of SRM in the center torso, also protected by case. And it has 14 double heat sinks. So definitely able to handle the heat quite well.
Yeah, I find it interesting. This is definitely like the 2R, but instead of moving towards more efficient firepower, it's going for more speed and maneuverability with the jump jets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one thing we tend to forget with the BattleTech game is that modern warfare is mobile warfare. The whole point is to move quickly.
Speed is very important.
Yeah, and we're not talking
Speed is
like
life.
speed demon or feel the need for speed, but at the strategic and even tactical level, you need to move fast. You need to be able to outmaneuver the other guy. And when the clans showed up, and basically everything has an XL engine, so all of their heavies are moving at medium speeds for what the inner spheres used to, it was necessary for them to start bumping some of these classic 4.6 heavies up to that 5.8 speed range and increasing their mobility so that they couldn't be constantly outmaneuvered by the clans.
Yeah, but the XL engine makes it a little fragile there. No matter how many units of case you slap on this, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, just remember cases to save the pilot.
Yes.
but you could repair it.
Keeps you from getting cored out as well. Because when you lose the left torso, you can still salvage it under a bunch of the rules, and it's just cheaper. It's that weird loophole for campaigns, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I really wish that BattleTech had an entry ramp that came through a campaign style play.
Like a really good one.
Yeah, kind of like all these legacy games that are coming out now, like Pandemic Legacy and Clank Legacy, and
Hmm.
I know there's lots of others where you buy the game and it's a board game and you play it through a campaign, and the rules in the rule book are like, all right, you finish the game. If this happened, do this. If this happened, do that. My brother's been playing them, and I've seen him getting up from the game table at the end of a session and tearing beautifully printed cards in half because that entire deck for the game got replaced by another deck due to what happened in their little campaign.
Mhm.
Something like that for BattleTech that was focused entirely on the idea of running a campaign with your friends, like one of these, like BattleTech Legacy. Can we get a BattleTech Legacy game?
That would be super cool. The question I think that would have to be put first and foremost is scale. Are we talking about like a planet, or are we talking about like the inner sphere? You know?
I think you'd have to do a planet. Like it would be
Yeah.
basically you think of it like a novel, except you are playing it out.
You know what? Theoretically, they could adapt. Didn't they just put out a campaign where they there was a SLDF stockpile that they found, and so like everybody made a mad dash for it at the beginning of the first succession war. Oh, what is it called? This is going to bother me.
One of the
Sorry, what was that?
One of the flashpoints, Tearfing or whatever, or turning points. I forget what they're called.
There's flashpoints and then there's turning points, which doesn't get confusing at all. Tearflame. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, that's it. That's the one I'm thinking of. That would be like a good introduction for, you know, like how the factions work, because they're temporarily trying to take control of that planet, you know?
Yeah, something along those lines. It needs to not use classic BattleTech rules. Like, you can borrow some of it, but you need to be able to sit down and go, okay, here's a unique map for it. Here's all those cardboard tiles that come in the core box set that let you change your map. Needs several sets of those so you can make multiple engagement maps out of the stuff in the box. You know, you're already, if you're doing something like a game of Armored Combat or the Clan Invasion expansion size box, you could have 2 paper maps in there. So that gives you 4 map sheets, which you could then mix in certain ways, especially if you had a bunch of extra tiles that come in those 2 boxes, and just make something that plays as a standalone game, and you don't necessarily tie it into BattleTech, except you can take your maps and you can take your mechs and you can take the cardboard terrain pieces over to classic BattleTech.
Yeah, like you open up the box, and when you're done with the campaign, you have this lovely keepsake, you know, like you have with lots of other legacy games. You know, like lots of people will sign the maps and someone will hang on to them, or they'll frame them at whoever's house they game at. But you could just take the little like the minis, and it's like, oh yeah, this is my commando from the game, you know, the introduction, and like I love this little guy. But he's now just a commando, you know, that I use all the time on Classic, because I love Classic, because I discovered it because of that.
Yeah, but it needs to have a separate set of rules that...
Not a separate, but a streamlined.
Yeah, you know, just Classic is not a good point of entry for most players these days.
It's deep. It's throwing people in the deep end.
Hope you know how to swim.
Yeah. Sadly, many people just grab the edge of the pool and climb out and go, nope, not for me, when it's just like, no, you just need to... you would actually, if you could... no. We just want to share our love.
You just got to give them some arm floaties, and that is what the legacy would be.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, they'll take the arm floaties off, or they won't. You know, it's up to them.
So, for our pilot profiles today, Josh is going to start us off.
Our first one is going to be Mechwarrior Charles Bear. A third-generation Mechwarrior, Charles Bear claims Native American ancestry, which is pretty impressive considering he's a Mechwarrior in the 3rd millennium, and it's been centuries since his people were last on Terra. He originally served with the renowned mercenary command SETI Rangers. He also served with the 21st Centauri Lancers, and eventually wound up in the Grey Death Legion. He's a quiet and somewhat secretive man. He does not mix in the social gatherings of his fellow mech warriors, but is respected by them for his battlefield prowess and his quiet loyalty to his comrades. He's regarded by the young and upcoming mech warriors in the Grey Death Legion with a mixture of awe and a little bit of trepidation.
It's a good way to look at someone.
True.
Next up, we have Hoffman Galen Cox, who is one of the most famous Crusader pilots of the late 31st century, not only because of his piloting skills, but also because he is the trusted friend and aide to a not really important person named Victor Steiner Davian. That'll definitely make you famous. He piloted his Crusader against both the Jade Falcons and Nova Cats during Operation Revival, so the clan invasion of the Inner Sphere. It is a testament to his piloting skills that he was able to not just succeed but thrive in that sort of environment with the technological discrepancy between the clan invaders and his Crusader battlemech. Galen was briefly the Prince's Champion for the Federated Commonwealth and was even engaged to Catherine Steiner Davian, Victor's sister, before he apparently died in a terrorist bombing. Surprisingly, he reappeared at the end of the Federated Commonwealth Civil War, and I don't know why he would just disappear for that amount of time. You might just have to go and read some of those books that tell you exactly what happened during that period of time.
I was going to say, the fact he faked his own death to get out of a marriage to Catherine Steiner Davian gives you a good idea of her character.
Did he fake his own death, or did he just roll with it?
Yeah, that is the question. That's the question that will be answered by reading those books. Dun, dun, dun. Galen even survived the jihad and would play a key role as one of the generals during Operation Scour, and would actually die peacefully in his sleep in 3102, unlike most of the people on these lists. So good on you, Galen Cox. Way to die in your bed, and not by a poisoning.
Yes.
Put the little asterisks on there.
That we know of at time of recording.
Yes.
So next up we have Crusading Carl, or Crusading Creole. Creole was Crael, or yeah.
That's a weird name.
I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Anyway, he was conceived when a pirate queen bedded a bolt of lightning, at least to hear him tell the story. He had...
I am the son of Jupiter.
His father was apparently Zeus.
Yeah. Cue meme for Greek mythology if Zeus kept it in his pants.
Yeah, we wouldn't have Crusading Creole.
Creole was a grandiose and hyperbolic arena jock on the planet of Antilos in their Death Reign arenas. And during the 3050s, he was unstoppable, winning every match and reigning as Death Reign champion. That was until 3057, when he was defeated by a mercenary pit fighter in the employ of Duke Morrison Davian Harland, the Duke of Bryceland. Years later, he would resurface on Solaris 7 as a commentator, having his personality make a babyface turn, even with his now signature eye patch. Later, he joined the Solaris Home Defense League and would be an important staff member, but not pilot a mech due to his injuries that he sustained in 3057, when he lost the ability to pilot a machine. Creole was one of the targets killed by the Word of Blake Wetwork squads days before they abandoned the planet.
What's a baby face turn?
So that's a wrestling thing. So you have the baby face, which is the good guy, and you have the heel, which is the bad guy. So you have a heel turn, which is, when you have a baby face turn into a heel. I mean, sometimes it's just a face, depending on who you talk to in terminology and all of that. And then so a face turn or a baby face turn would be a heel turning into a good guy.
So he did a heel face turn rather than a baby face turn because he was going from a bad guy to a good guy.
Well, what you are turning into is what is, like, you are described as what you are turning into. At least that's my understanding of the terminology. I am not super into wrestling. I appreciate that it exists and will get condensed versions of it through people doing commentary and things like that.
Okay, because I thought it was the other way around, where you were a heel face and then you turned, and so you became a good guy because you turned away from being a heel face. But I don't follow wrestling either, so...
So, listeners, if you are super interested, probably Google's a better authority than us. But if you are an authority, maybe let us know what it actually is.
All I know is that you have to expect the unexpected in the Kingdom of Madness, and the Kingdom of Madness is the Inner Sphere, obviously. Next up, we have Captain Miko Unziki. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. Hopefully I'm mispronouncing it correctly. Miko is a descendant of ancient Zulu chieftains, and he keeps his heritage alive by decorating his Crusader, the Shaka, in traditional Zulu style. His unit, the Alpha Company 1st Battalion of the 5th Crucis Lancers, have also adopted the Zulu decorations, which I'm sure looks very interesting when fighting all over the Inner Sphere, especially with the way I'm sure history is not taught especially well when it comes to something that's not something to do with your home planet or your country. So how many people actually know that they're Zulus? That must be an interesting number.
You could probably just look it up at ancestry.com star.
Yeah. Ancestry.cs.
I do find it interesting that we keep running across characters and groups in the Battletech universe who 1,000 years from now are going, I am this people group on a world that no longer has those people groups.
So I'm
Yeah.
going to throw this out here that I think it's awesome, because I'm going to guess that not an insignificant number of people that we are listing off are people who did the Kickstarter and pledged at the level where they become canonized. And so we are seeing lots of people doing their quote-unquote self-insert character getting canonized. And so we're seeing lots of people from diverse groups and backgrounds going, I love Battletech. I think that's awesome.
And I'm not saying it's not
That's
awesome.
possible.
I'm just saying I find it a little odd and weird in the fiction that so many people from places all across the universe who've never been to Terra and who would theoretically have just been a melting pot and would identify with their new planets and their new cultures are going back to 20th century identities or 19th century identities.
I'm just going to throw this out here. In Canada, there is a lot of, like community centers, which are specifically geared towards, like the Polish community center, or the, like there's festivals specifying particular, like cultural heritage is like stuff from Norway, stuff from Scotland, stuff from England, which I guess is kind of just regular day stuff. But anyway, so like there's, yeah, like, okay, sure, it's 1,000 years, so you're going to probably have less of that, but I think there would still be a through line, a thread that people would have. And, maybe we're just hearing the very loud people who are very loud and proud about your ye olde connection to Terra.
That's fair. I guess immigrants to a new land often cling more tightly to the old ways and the old traditions to give themselves a sense of identity in a strange new place.
I mean, look at Sky and Northwind. They both have strong Scottish traditions, and, there's lots of other places. There's a couple planets in the Tamar Compact who have very strong South Pacific identities, if I'm remembering correctly, like Indian from India identities, I think, as well. If I am remembering correctly, I don't have those notes in front of me.
Yeah, I think part of it is from the Kickstarter, but a lot of it I've noticed, a lot of the much more flamboyant, like this one, for example, Miko, for a good example, is some of them are from a lot of the older stuff. Like this, Miko's from TRO 3025. That was before Kickstarter was a thing.
True.
Well, back in the day, and I know this because I have a friend who is a demo lab agent. Back in the day, they would accrue points that they could use towards getting product. And eventually the company was like, well, we're losing too much money giving our demo agents all this product. So they switched to giving them digital product. Like you could redeem your points for, at one point for TROs and rule books and stuff. And they said, well, okay, we're getting rid of the system because we're losing too much money to you guys. So you can spend a certain number of points to get inserted into the fiction at certain levels. So kind of a prototype of the Kickstarter thing.
Mm-hmm.
So some of these could be coming from that too. If you had a New Zealander game, I just said the name now, I can't think of it.
Oh, demo agent.
If you had a New Zealander demo agent, they could have cashed in a bunch of points they'd been accruing to get a character inserted or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or a Scottish demo agent, or
insert whatever here. And they could have just been like, I am the most mean, evil periphery pirate ever.
Yeah. But yeah, back to Miko, back to our actual topic. after that.
Yeah.
Miko is, of course, a very fitting commander for his company because he is actually very tall. And he also wears a traditional leopard skin cloak of a Zulu chief around his shoulders and drives his unit to the limits of their endurance. So not only impressive, but also a driving force, to be sure. This style of leadership, of course, won his unit many victories, which who would have thought that driving your company to do better would mean you'd get more victory. And has won many decorations from House Davian for his unit. His Mechwarriors do grumble at times, but they are devoted to Miko and would follow him into hell itself. So definitely a good captain, I think, in that point.
There you go. Next up, we have Major Mark Maiden. Today, you can read current literature penned in Mark Maiden's name, despite him having passed away in Operation Bulldog. Mark defected with the rest of the 1st St. Ives Chevu loggers.
Chauces.
Hold on.
Chavo.
I'll put it in chat. Hold on.
Chevulegers.
Hold on.
That.
Where is Google Translate? Google Translate will save us. No, not Bengalia. I need French.
Chevulegers.
Apparently means horseleggers. It means horseleggers from French.
So basically, horse of foot, the cavalry that goes with the infantry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so apart from the terrible French, chevulegers.
Come on, Canadian.
During the succession of the St.
Google
Ives
Translate's not helping.
Compact from the Capellan Confederation, I'm mustering on. During the time in the St. Ives military, he was instrumental in reforming the military and integrating with the Davian network and doctrine. After retiring to a desk for many years, he took the opportunity to join Operation Bulldog using his family's Crusader. On the battlefield, he died when an ammunition explosion consumed his mech. After his death, a memorial statue was planned and organized, but when the St. Ives Compact was reabsorbed into the Capellan Confederation, the plans for the statue were discarded, as the Capellan Confederation government had marked him as a traitorous unperson. Starting in 3125, many subversive and radical works have been disseminated across the St. Ives Compact and outside its borders. They are penned using his name, and so a physical memorial to him never happened, but I believe he would feel the subversive works that are distributed using his name are a fitting tribute to his memory.
Let's not forget, even though he was driving an ancient Crusader, he killed 2 smoke Jaguar Mad Dogs before that ammo explosion killed him.
Which is not too shabby.
No, not too shabby at all, especially with what's probably a 3R.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive in a 3R. Next up, we have Tai Haramander Singh, also Baron Haramander Singh. He was the commander of the infamous Duke Hasid Ricol's Red Hunter Special Operations Group. It was a familiar and feared sight along the Lyran Combine border in the waning days of the Third Succession War. Crossed paths on at least one occasion with our previous Mechwarrior Charles Bear, as Duke Hasid Ricol and Grayson Carlisle were mortal enemies. Singh was a methodical and ruthless commander of unparalleled efficiency. He was almost a legend in his own lifetime until he was killed by future legend and then unknown Grayson Carlisle on Trelwyn in 3024. Sometimes referred to as a colonel, he remained a Tai in the DCMS while in service to the Red Duke, who inflated Singh's rank both to increase his own prestige and to make his personal forces seem larger than they were. And I retract my statement, Mechwarrior Charles Bear was not part of the fighting on Trelwyn.
He joined later.
I know that. I just forgot this dead Drake.
To be fair, there's a lot of names in BattleTech.
There are a lot of dead Dracs in the Grey Death Legion saga.
There's also
One
a
or
lot
two.
of dead mercs, sadly.
Perhaps even 3. Next and last for this episode is Lieutenant Victor Voss, who is part of the 10th Sky Rangers and was known to be a pugnacious infighter. He was reassigned to the 10th Sky Rangers after breaking off from his Firelance to engage in physical combat. So, not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing if he got reassigned. I'm going to say it's good for him. When Clan Jade Falcon landed on Coventry in 3057 and scattered the 10th Sky Rangers, his aggressive nature proved a boon as his reliance on physical attacks kept him in the thick of the fighting even after his ammunition was redistributed. After the incursion on Coventry, Voss was reassigned to the 1st Sky Jaegers and he was seriously wounded in 3062 during the fighting on Leon's thumb. Sorry, when he when he charged a 5th Tyrian regular Strider linked to a full C3 network. So that either means he got hit by 4 mechs, or that means he got hit by like 7 mechs, or how big of a C3 network do we want to talk about?
He got hit
He
hard.
got smacked. He got smacked real good.
I think we are going to call it there because my recording's at like an hour and 36 minutes.
We really talked, huh?
Yeah, we had a bunch of digressions. So our sources for today are Sarna, Battletech Battlemech Manual, Master Unit List, TRO 3039, Record Sheets 3039, Unabridged, TRO 3075, Record Sheets 3075, Age of War, TRO 3085, Project Phoenix, Record Sheets 3085, Project Phoenix, Ill-Clan Recognition Guide, Volume 17. This podcast is made possible by our supporters on patreon.com/on the Origin of Battlemechs, link in the description. Our social media on Twitter is at Origin of Mechs. We also have a community Discord, the Armory of Ouroboros, link in the description. You can email us at ontheoriginofbattlemechs@gmail.com. If you enjoy the show, please leave a review on your platform of consumption, tell your friends about us, and share on your community platform of choice. Special thanks to my friend Laura for the intro and outro. Our Ace Pilot Patreons are currently John Keith III. Class dismissed. Everybody have a great day.
Peace out, Mechwarriors.
Stay safe out there.
Module complete. System standby. Would you like to load the next module?
Now, you did switch the input on the microphone for Audacity, right?
Yes, that was what was giving me problems.
Mm-hmm.
And it's working now, I think. Audacity is working, that's what matters.
There you go. And you see the sine waves. Unlike me not checking last week. Oof.
Let's not think about that. Actually, let's think about that. Make sure that you can see those sine waves.
I do see them, yes.
Okay, good. Okay.